Hi everyone, today we're going to be making some delicious lasagna, and all the ingredients and the full recipe will be listed in the description box below. So I'm using about 30 ripe Roma tomatoes and a quarter of the purple onion for the meat sauce. You can definitely use ragu, just so you know if you're short on time, but using fresh veggies is going to give you a wonderfully bright, fresh sauce. I took the stems out of the tomatoes, put them in a microwave safe bowl, and then what I did is microwave them on full power for about 20 minutes total. I did 7 minutes at a time, more or less. And after each microwave of about 7 minutes, I would turn the tomatoes so they cook evenly. Here you see after 7 minutes what they look like. Some of the skins are starting to separate. And after about 20 minutes, the bowl looked like this. And as you can see now, it's really easy to get the skins off. Taking the skins off is going to make for a really smooth tomato sauce. I let the tomatoes cool, and then the skins come off really easily. I plopped them into the blender. As you can see, there's a good amount of water released by the tomatoes. And here's my second batch of veggies I microwaved, now with the onions. And here's what they looked like after 24 minutes in the microwave. I poured these beautiful blended veggies into a stock pot, put it on high heat to bring it to a boil, then lowered it to medium-low heat and let it simmer. And the goal is to evaporate water and cook the tomatoes, develop that flavor on that medium-low heat. As you cook, foam will rise to the top and you want to remove that with a spoon. And after about 30-40 minutes, it is going to vary. The sauce is thickening up here. And the goal is to bring your sauce basically to the consistency of the can of crushed tomatoes. And at that point, you're done and you can turn the heat off. Now let's prep to cook the meats. You'll need 1 medium onion diced, about 5 garlic cloves that you're going to crush. It comes out to about 1.5 teaspoons of crushed garlic. For the dry spices, 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 3/4 teaspoon of fennel, and then 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. You could use freshly ground. Now let's talk about the meats. So we're using 1 pound of sausage and 1 pound of ground meat. Remove the sausage from the casings and bring 2 tablespoons of olive oil, basically heated up in a stock pot. Once that oil is hot, you are going to go ahead and add the onions. You want it to sizzle when you add those onions. And what we're going to do is we're going to sizzle all these onions to toast them and get them a little bit golden brown before we add the garlic. When the garlic has lightly toasted, add in your meats and stir everything up to coat the meat in the onions and garlic. Now I've made a well in the middle of my meat, and I'm pouring in my dry spices that I combined with about 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil. This will toast the spices and create an infused olive oil that is going to just permeate the meat with a wonderful flavor. When the meat is done, all the pink is gone, but you're not going to cook it beyond that. You're going to add those beautiful veggies. And a quick note on toasting the spices. Toast them for about 30 to 60 seconds. You don't want to burn them. Look at this sauce. It's just beautiful. Stirring it up. Now it's time to add some fresh herbs. I have some parsley here and also some rosemary. You could add fresh thyme if you had it. Fresh does make a huge difference, but I made a note in the description box below about how to use dried herbs if you only have those. I added 1 teaspoon of salt as well, and basically I'm just going to let this come to a boil and lower it to a simmer. We're going to cook this even more to develop the flavors. This is the sauce after 45 minutes. It still has some water I want to boil off. I don't want to have a watery lasagna, but this sauce right here would be fantastic on top of pasta with some fresh Parmesan or just as a soup on its own. It's so delicious. So I'm keeping this on level 1 out of 10 with the pot lid, as you saw, almost completely on, but with a little vent for steam to escape. Here we go after an hour where we're at. I'm liking where it's at after an hour. You could certainly cook it more if you want a deeper tomato flavor, but again, I kind of like that lightness, a little bit of freshness still in there. So after an hour, I put the pot lid back on and I just let this cool while I got started on my cheese filling. So here I am chopping some parsley. I want a 1/4 cup of fresh parsley for my cheese filling. And just a note, I forgot to add fresh basil to my tomato sauce. I usually do, so that's in the recipe below. So add 1 large egg that's lightly beaten. And then you're going to go ahead and add 32 ounces of ricotta cheese. I use whole milk ricotta cheese. I'm adding the fresh parsley. I didn't have enough fresh parsley to make for a full 1/4 cup, so I added in some dried parsley to make up the difference. I'm adding in a cup of grated Parmesan. And then also I'm adding in 4 cups of shredded part skim mozzarella. You can definitely grate your own mozzarella and that'll bring the flavor to even the next level. I already had pre-grated mozzarella cheese. Just a note, shredded cheese freezes really great. It's an economical way to have it on hand. And I also added a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to the mix. Now let's get ready to put this lasagna together. So put 2 cups of the meat sauce in the bottom of your lasagna pan. I'm using oven ready lasagna noodles, just FYI. A note on the pan, I use the Pyrex, it's the 7212 model. It's 9.5 by 7.5 inches, and that gives me 2 lasagnas. And this thing is so hearty that one of these little lasagnas is plenty to eat for a dinner for a family of 4, even for 2 nights if you add some salad and chicken. And then the other one, as you'll see, I just pop it in the freezer, and this thing is so delicious, you don't want to make just one anyway, but you could certainly put this in a large lasagna dish and bring a big lasagna like to a potluck. So now you're going to go ahead and layer with basically noodles, cheese filling, then meat sauce. Noodles, chili, cheese, I can't say it, it's a tongue twister. Noodles, cheese filling, meat sauce. And you're going to do that until you get all the way to the top.
Hey, Mommy.
So when you get to the top of the dish, you're going to do noodles, and then you're going to cover the noodles with meat sauce, okay? Spread that out, and then you're going to start sprinkling the cheese topping. So the cheese topping is 1 cup of shredded mozzarella and a 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and then a tablespoon of parsley. Like I mentioned, I made 2 of these Pyrex lasagnas. So I freeze one, I stick the top on, and then I cover it in a plastic bag and label it. And when it comes time to cook it, you can either let it defrost in your fridge and then cook it for the normal amount of time, plus probably about 20 minutes, or you can just stick it frozen in your oven And in that case, you'll need to add about an hour to your total cooking time. Basically, when it is nice and bubbly, you're going to take it out. Okay, so bake at 375 for 40 minutes, and it is just delicious. Look at this, roasty, toasty, bubbly, very nice. All right, let's cut into this bad boy. So delicious. And I like to serve this with roasted chicken with carrots and potatoes and some wild rice. And man, it is the bomb dot com. It's so delicious. Okay, well, I hope you make this. Have a blessed day and just know that God loves you, wants you to have a personal relationship with Him. I care about lasagna, but I also want people to know that God loves them. And if you don't know what that means, I encourage you to go to the website pictured here. Have a blessed day. Bye.